Recording is now in progress. So I just wanted to welcome everyone today and introduce you all to Tim Elms of Canoe Procurement. And Tim is going to take a few minutes, go through the logistics of the organization and how you can register if you haven't already. And we are prepared at the end to take some questions. If you want to submit your questions in the chat, I can manage that. How is everyone else's sound? I just got a chat saying that. Okay, maybe just you guys.
I was going to say I can hear you fine, Tammy.
Okay. Yeah, no, everyone else might be on your end, your internet. So we are recording though. So if you do miss anything today, we will be posting it on our YouTube channel. And I will put that in the link, a link to that in our next bulletin. So I'm going to throw things over to Tim now so that we get the most out of the hour that we do have. If you do have questions and you want to throw them in the chat, we'll make sure we get them either to Tim at the end of the session, or if we run out of time, he has indicated that he will, open to emails from everybody or conversations, and we'll take it from there. So I'm going to throw it over to Tim.
Thanks, Tammy. Hi, everyone. Again, Tim Elms from Canoe Procurement Group of Canada. I am the CRM for Atlantic Canada and Northern Ontario. So I help guide you through the process of working with Canada's largest procurement alliance. If you guys look at the screen right now, I'm sure you can see my screen. You'll see all the acronyms at the bottom, and what that is the 10 associations, including municipalities of Newfoundland and Labrador, that we currently partner with. And through that partnership, Tammy and I have met through a few of the conferences, and I get to talk to you about some of the advantages of working with PMA and with the programs here. It's an exciting time, especially in Newfoundland. I'm going to start right off because we actually got a signed letter from the province of Newfoundland to our Chief Executive Officer of Municipalities in Newfoundland and Labrador, Craig Pollitt, saying that they've approved the programs across the board for meeting regulations and subsections of the CFTA Act, as well as the Provincial Procurement Act. Why that's so important is because it means that you can participate in their programs for anything that goes over the CFTA regulated threshold of 105,700. That means you can take advantage of our programs that are procured on your behalf. Our programs are where you can things from office supplies right through to fire trucks, buses, you name it, whatever you need, everything in between. And the RFP process has already been done on your behalf. So it's a really exciting time right now for Newfoundland. It's an exciting, right across the board, it's exciting across Canada because we launched our programs within the Atlantic Canadian region about 2 years ago, but became Canoe Procurement last June. Very exciting times. So I wanted to touch on a little bit about who is Canoe. Well, as mentioned before, we are a cooperative buying group. We're non-for-profit. We're the largest non-for-profit procurement agency across Canada. And again, we partnered with M&L in 2019. I'm not sure about anyone on this call, but I'm going to say the C word, COVID-19, launching our programs in the COVID-19 pandemic. I would highly not suggest it to anyone in the future, anyone listening to this. But yeah, it's been not without its challenges. However, now that we are finally getting back to a new normal, it's really exciting for all our members. As mentioned, we're not for profit. The programs have actually started a long time ago. Cooperative procurement outside of Alberta is relatively new term. So in Atlantic Canada, it's fairly new. However, when people get the idea, they jump on board. Because RMA, our sister association, started it in 1936, they actually started it to lower the cost of rat poisoning. This is a little bit of a history lesson. I'm not sure if anyone knows that Alberta is the only province in Canada that is completely rat-free. Being from the Maritimes and in Halifax, we definitely are not rat-free. But it was interesting to me to to see that they actually started, RMA started in 1936 to get cheaper rat poison. So they conglomerated and amalgamated all the needs across the board for all the municipalities to make sure that that cost was lowered. And then they ventured into other things. And then eventually now offering a whole bunch of programs, as mentioned before, that include dump trucks, fire trucks, ice resurfacers, ice rinks, you name it, they've got it. About 95% of what you're looking for can be handled through the program. There's 5,000 active members across Canada. There's urban and rural municipalities. Urban municipalities have just come on board. Some of these bigger players are looking at us, not even looking at it, are actually actively using us. So if it's big enough for the big guys, it's big enough for all the smaller municipalities as well. We've got Toronto and Ottawa, who've just recently come on as of last week. We've got the province of Manitoba, who came on at the beginning of the month. We've got the Halifax, who's joined on board. We've got some big players in Newfoundland as well. And both the province of Newfoundland is actively looking at using our programs. PEI is actively looking at using our programs, and Nova Scotia has just recently purchased a fire truck underneath our program. So again, the reason why I mentioned those urban centers and those larger conglomerates, those larger public entities, is because they have a larger procurement team. And it's really important for you. You've got lots of hats that you wear in your day-to-day roles. It's really important to you to know that the programs are all CFTA compliant. They've been vetted 5 different stages for legal. And before it even hits the members, we've vetted it 5 different stages through a whole bunch of legalities of procurement policies. So we want to make sure that you are feeling comfortable that it's all CFTA compliant, it's credible, open and transparent, and it meets your needs. We partnered with Sourcewell. Sourcewell is our partner for the larger purchases. They do our capital purchasing procurement, which brings you internationally recognized brands, but where you're working with a local distributor. So an example of that, John Deere, when they've responded to the RFP, they were placed in order, and we rank all the different RFPs that we get. And for our capital purchasing, Sourcewell does this for us. But when you're working with the local rep, it's either Brant or Green Diamond here locally in Atlantic Canada. Here's kind of the scope of where we are across Canada. We only have really 2 areas in Canada that we are not yet, Quebec being the biggest one that we're actually looking at venturing into. There's a lot of, as I've mentioned before, a lot of legalization that we have to go through to make sure everything's compliant before we can even hit out to the members. And in Quebec, there is a few stipulations about purchasing on a standing offer / buying group that we have to work through. So we are actively working on that. When they do decide to come on board with us, it will be a pretty exciting time for all our members. But you can see across from sea to sea, we're there with all those 10 associations giving you that buying power on the day-to-day stuff, where you're purchasing with that active buying power of 5,000 active members, but also giving you that opportunity on the second fold to purchase things over 105,700, knowing that it's gone through the proper processes. So we're here to help. That's what we are. And just so you guys know, this is a very short slide deck. We can get into the nit and gritties, but really this is a synopsis of what we are. There's one slide coming up that I really want to focus on. But this one here will help you understand a little bit more about how the buying process works across Canada. We're here to save you money. Obviously, if you're buying lots of stuff and underneath a buying group, everybody comes together and purchases it, the pricing on that specific item is going to be a lot lower. And that's really the concept behind that. The saving you time is where we go to tender on the member's behalf. It offers that soft cost that reduces the administrative cost, the soft cost, which is really beneficial to our members. We actually have done cost analysis with some provinces, and one of our suppliers, our approved suppliers, who's on our website. If you go to canoeprocurement.ca, you can pull up all the suppliers, and one of the suppliers are at one of our MROs. The cost analysis for the province that we were working with, and had the province been using us, I'll say province of Newfoundland, the cost analysis with us. And so had they used our approved supplier in 2020 on the items that they purchased, they would have saved not on the soft cost, the administration costs, but the actual dollar amount, the hard costs, they would have saved 17%. It's 17. That's a huge amount of cost savings. That's plenty of salaries that could help out with their day-to-day work. And so the benefits are outweighing the negative. There's no negative really. The benefits are just wide to have. So as mentioned before, we've got access to a wide variety of suppliers. We're constantly vetting them. We're constantly going through all the invoices that are coming in to making sure everything's adhered to. You've got a team of administrators behind you with both in procurement as well as in accounting that make sure everything's running smoothly. The supplier list is growing rapidly. We just closed off an RFP recently in the tire program. We are including Goodyear, Michelin, a new access for Cal Tire coming through underneath. They're going to be in Atlantic Canada, which is very exciting for all our members in Newfoundland. So it'll help with the service side of things. And then also we've got Yokohama that's available online through the program as well. So that's something that's new that's been coming on board. But there's a huge amount of vendors that you have. You've got 170 vendors or 120 plus vendors now. And that number is growing constantly. There's also we always work with local distributors as well. And members, we always help members support through purchases and the purchasing process. There's no membership fee. We give free quotes, cost analysis. There's no minimum purchasing or commitment levels or thresholds. Often the one thing I get is, oh, it seems too good to be true. There seems to be something that we need to do. There is the notice of intent, which we can help you do. I have some wording where you put out a notice of intent once a year, and it just says that we intend to be using the program for the time frame of, say, January 1st to December 31st of the specific year, and you post that once a year, and that covers you for all the purchasing. For more information, you can reach out to me at tim@communityprocurement.ca. And that really covers you for CFTA legislation, and it covers you if there's any challenges. As you are all aware, the challenges come up once in a while for when you go for procurement and RFPs. So again, as we mentioned, how do we comply? We meet provincial and federal trade regulations. Newfoundland Labrador government approved as seen by the first letter. It again vetted through all these different stages, and then all that really is left is for you to pick up the phone and contact one of our suppliers. I've mentioned post an annual notice, but pick up the supplier when you need something. So this was a slide I had mentioned before. If falling asleep, now's a good time to look at what we've got here. This is a traditional versus cooperative procurement. So when I say all you need to do now is post that notice of intent and pick up the phone and get a quote, I mean that. You can get a quote today through our program, but before you execute that quote, make sure you do that notice of intent. So in a normal traditional procurement process, that's these blue numbers right across the board here, 1 to 11. In a cooperative procurement process, it's the orange circles with the orange line right here. So you can see from our programs are the orange circles with the orange lines. So let's just take a fire truck, for example. If you were to go out for an RFP for a fire truck currently, you'd have to walk through all these 11 stages. You need to identify the need, research the options, spec up the equipment, obtain the contract pricing, write the tender, advertise the tender, and bid opening. At this point, whatever tender you've had, you put forward, you're stuck with that specification. So we see a lot of times with the fire truck stuff, somebody put out an old RFP and just change the dates, and then when they open the bid, they go, "Uh-oh, this is too big for our garage." And you'd be surprised, it actually happens about 40% of the time. Finally, you got bid evaluation, award to lowest bid, and issue a PO. By the time you're ready to receive the equipment, that's when it starts getting made. Currently, with supply and demand for fire trucks, it used to be about 9 months turnaround. Now it's going to anywhere from 12 to 16 months. And quite frankly, it's looking like 16 months for most members. So with our approved programs, when you pick up the phone and you call, say you need a fire truck or a Zamboni or a new printer or 50 cases of paper, whatever it is. Currently, right now, I know there's a shortage of paper on the island, and we actually have some through our office supply program, which I think it works out to be about $40 a case. But if that was of interest, you could reach out to me. All you're doing is you research the options, you pick up the phone, You contact one of our approved suppliers, you tell them what you want, they build you the quote. At this point on this orange line, they come back with the quote, you get the quote, and you go, you know what, this sounds great. And you issue a PO and you receive the equipment. If that's your first option, actually. Your second option, because there's no commitment level or threshold to maintain, you can pick up the phone, call one of our approved suppliers, and you know what, you get the quote, you're not really feeling it. So you call one of our other approved suppliers underneath that program, get the quote, you love it, you issue the PO and you receive the equipment. We also offer a third option because it's all about that procurement flexibility. If you call at this point at stage 2 and you go through one vendor, or two vendors, and you vet all 3 of our vendors, you've gone through, you get quotes, you're not really feeling the quotes, none of them are working for you. You have the option of actually going out and doing your own RFP process. So that means you have to go through these 11 steps right across the board to make sure you get exactly what you need. The only thing that I will say for that, the only caveat is, if you do that, you are now reopening the RFP process because the RFP has already been done. So you're now creating a new RFP. So you both have to make sure that you go through all those 11 steps, but whatever you were quoted through our program previously is off the table. Like, you can't have that weight of 5,000 active members behind you. And so we've seen it actually in the past where one of our approved suppliers has put it forward, but has just gone forward as just the town, and they actually won the bid. But however, had they gone through our program, not only would it save them time, it would save them money as well. And just so we all know, if we have more time, and I can show you this on one-on-one if you like, all these documentations, these steps from 3 to 9 are available online for our members. In fact, they're available for anyone to see. So pricing varies because on the larger purchases, it's online, but it'll be a percentage off MSRP, or it'll be a percentage off a certain amount of vehicles. If you're purchasing like 3 fire trucks, you'll get a bigger percentage off. The best way to do it is to get a quote to really compare apples to apples. So a few of our programs that I've mentioned already, but I wanted to kind of put a synopsis on some of the other programs that we have. We've got our tire program here, as mentioned before, that just got closed off with our RFP. We've got Yokohama that's added to this as well, which is quite beneficial to our members. We've got Michelin and Goodyear that gives the OTR, great OTR pricing, passenger side trucks, tires with the shortages for the tires through the past couple of years. The other bonus of being a member is that our members are deemed essential services. So when something shows that it's not available online, there's actually a back order for our members who can then have their orders placed. We do auto parts through Napa. There's an access to a wide range of auto parts that are available, 24-hour delivery and technical training and shop management training. Our office supplies program is through Staples Professional. There is free next day deliveries on orders of over 50. And this includes, I've been told that if there's something that you might need, they actually, there won't be a charge for under 50, but I mean, I'm not sure if you're like me, I always go on to buy pens and paper and all of a sudden it's over $50 anyways, but you work with a local rep who can help you with doing cost analysis for yourself. It's a reduced administration, a reduced hassle, and again, as I mentioned, a free cost analysis. This is a great example of where the PPE, when we had problems accessing PPE, our members were able to get the PPE fairly quickly. So when the N95 masks were through the roof for costs, I know personally I was able to get my PPE, my hand sanitizer, my masks, everything I needed, even some wipes. It was about a 3-day turnaround, including the weekend. So it was really, really effective because we were deemed essential services, just like our members. We've got Action Card trucks and accessories. We've got Commercial Truck Equipment Co., fleet uplifting programs, a full fleet of uplifting products, upfitting products, yep, and aftermarket accessories. They can do trucks large and small, peace officer vehicles, utility vehicles. We have an MRO program which includes Granger and Fastenal, PPG for line paint. Again, these are just a few synopsis of our programs. I'd urge you to go to canoeprocurement.ca, where you'd be able to find more information on our programs altogether, including our capital purchasing program, which you can see here with some of the bigger names: Caterpillar, Schultz, John Deere, Kenworth, Pierce. These are huge internationally recognized names, and the list is constantly evolving, constantly adding on. We listen to our members and say kind of what they need, whatever they need. We actually build programs to suit their needs. So some of our other programs, like Waterworks program, we've got MCO involved on that. We've got our culverts program, which we listen to our members, and the next culvert program is going to have plastic coating on the culverts. Everything that's needed, we actually listen to our members to make sure that we can build some RFPs that will suit their needs. So it's a very exciting time. I always liken it to climbing a mountain. We just made it through the parking lot. We're just into the parking lot right now. We've barely tied up our boots. So if anyone here has ever climbed Grossmorn or been around there, you can see the mountains that are climbable. Well, we've got a lot of growth to go through about getting the message out to everyone about Canoe Procurement Group of Canada. But people are catching on. When we have, as I mentioned, the bigger entities, the big urban centers who are reaching out and saying, you know what, this is great. We worked with Sourceful in the past, but in the 11th hour, we realized the vendor we had reached out to wasn't CFTA compliant. They're so glad that with Canoe Procurement, they can rest assured that it is. And it was a well-needed spot that we needed to get out and have be the people to help you with your positions. But I'm hoping you guys are as excited as I am. And with that, I told you it was a short slide, and so I'm done, Tammy. And I think there's some questions.
So we'll open it up now. If folks have questions, you can either raise your hand using your reactions, and we can open it up, or if you want it to type something in the chat. Oh, we have a question. I'll get her to unmute. Nadine McCauley, she's with the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay. I may not be able to identify where everyone is from.
You did good.
I did good. Did I pronounce it properly? Is it Nadine or Nadine?
Formerly Nadine, but I'm a lazy speaker too, so it's Nadine.
I have a friend who was very specific that hers was Nadine, so
Probably French.
yeah. So go ahead, Nadine, and Tim will answer your question.
I find this whole procurement process extremely interesting, and I think it's going to prove to be very valuable to us as a municipality. My only thing is I'm not exactly sure how to use it. Like, I understand what it's meant to do, but I don't really know how to use it. So is there a step-by-step, quick and dirty, okay, you're looking for this, can I do this next?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just see if I can get one more screen share here. I can take you to the canoeprocurement.ca website. It really is quite easy. Let me just see here. I have this source file. Why not? But I'm going to take you to the Canoe Procurement. Let's just see. So if you go to the Canoe Procurement website, you can actually search up vendors through our programs and our suppliers. It is really that easy where you can pick up the phone and reach out to one of our vendors. So if you go onto programs, this is a website that's under construction and it's constantly evolving, but you can go down to the programs and you can actually click on NL right here. That's for Newfoundland. So you click on that.
And Labrador.
Newfoundland, Labrador, sorry. Yeah, it's NL for Newfoundland, Labrador, my bad. So you'll click on that and then up will pop up all the vendors that are underneath there, all the programs that we have available, okay? So let's just take an example here for NL. NL is highlighted orange. You can see Saskatchewan's not. So airport equipment is not available in Saskatchewan. just because they didn't respond with that in mind. So if you click on the airport equipment program, you can pull up all the information on it. You can even click on here for my contact information, contact client relations manager, and you can actually pull up where the regional contacts throughout on Newfoundland here. You can pull up my contact information. There's my email, there's my number. So you can do two things. You can reach out to me and I can facilitate an introduction, or you can just reach out directly to the vendor, supplier. So right here, you click on the contact underneath here, multi-hog. You can reach out. You can send Tony Duff an email, or you can give him a call. At that point, he'll give you a quote. So that's that second stage. So, and if you like the quote, you can execute the quote through the programs, or you can go to our next vendor. As you can see for Oshkosh, it's not available in Newfoundland. However, if you go to Rosenbauer, you can click on that and reach out and grab a contact here for Glenn Jack. There's we have a lot of vendors here. The other thing I'd urge you to do for the first time, reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you out with all your needs, and I can help facilitate an introduction to our suppliers. But I also urge you to go onto the canoeprocurement.ca website, where you'll also see a whole bunch of opportunities and all the vendors here listed. But really, it's as easy as picking up the phone and calling one of the vendors.
And that's just to get quotes.
That's to get a quote, and you'd say, hi, Altech, I am looking for a bucket truck. Contract number 012418 through the Canoe Procurement. And you can reach out to Braden. This number here is not a local 709 number. However, Braden is the contract holder for Altech Industries. And what happens is they will get you as local as possible. So I know there's a lot of local vendors within the Maritimes and Atlantic Canada that Altech works with. So they'll give you the closest person that will be able to help you out. So they'll give you a quote, and then through that quote, you can actually execute the quote.
And then from there, it goes through you. You do the rest until we actually issue a PO.
So you would issue a PO if you enjoyed, like if you like the quote, you issue the PO, you offer it to Altech, it's invoiced through the supplier, so you pay them directly. And then for our other programs, like our office supply programs, that's invoiced through us. And if you have a PO number, PO numbers are pretty much internal for you, for your purposes. I would include the contract number on here. And then through purchasing, we work with our accounting group, and we'll just get your account set up through our programs here. So it's easy as going back to, let me see if I can, going back to that slide, that was 11 steps. You're picking up the phone and you're calling the vendor to get a quote. So if you know, for an example, is there something that you're looking for currently that I could probably?
Well, we'll be looking for vehicles very soon.
So
light duty vehicles.
Light duty vehicles. Okay, so on our website, we actually have a fleet management company. This is a great example of something where you can actually go onto our onto our website, and you'll see. Let me just see if I can just pull it up for you actually here. So eFleet is a great example of our fleet management program. So eFleet is obviously working with, there it is, Enterprise Fleet Management eFleet. There's a contract and contact there. You can actually contact this person, or reach out to me if there isn't a name on it, and I'll reach out to them and get you in the right contact to work with. But what is a really good example of what eFleet does is that they look at your current fleet, and I think it's about a 10 or 20 vehicle requirement that you have currently in your fleet, not necessarily going through eFleet. And what they will do is they'll show you the cost savings, and they'll do a cost analysis for you, so that you can be better prepared when you talk to your council or to your upper management about the program and why you went through the RFP, why you went through our programs. And we can actually break down where eFleet sits with the fleet management programs, how they became one of our vendors, You can look at the advertising contract when they went to the RFP, everything. But what's the beauty about doing that cost analysis through this is a prime example was Charlottetown PEI. They went through this process, and they, over the course of the next 10 years, through enterprise fleet management, they're going to save $1.8 million, which is a multitude of multiple salaries, which is really exciting for them, through the program. And yeah, it's to help the members save as much money as possible, but also working with those local distributors. That was one of the concerns too. They said, well, if we're going through enterprise, how will we know that our local suppliers are going to be, like, we don't want them to get not have any reciprocal business or lose out on anything. Well, the beauty with, yes, Enterprise is an internationally recognized brand. Enterprise Fleet Management is actually based in Canada. They're a Canadian company, and they work with local suppliers, and they work with those local vehicle suppliers, so that they will get the percentage of revenue back into their system. So it's all channeled through those local suppliers. So it's exciting. So this is one where I could definitely, if you reach out to me, I could help out and introduce you to people that can work with it. But if you want, you can go on to the website, canoeprocurement.ca. You'll see the contact number here. There's a contact for the 188 number there, but you can also just pull up the information on all the specific vendors as well. Go through their website and see if it's something that you'd like to work with.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nadine.
Any other questions from anyone? Okay, we have another one, Brian Winter. I'm going to ask you to unmute your microphone.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Tim. Brian down in Torbay. I met you in Nova Scotia earlier this year for over the asset management program.
100%. Yeah.
So, and we've got something set up to do a bit more of this presentation with our other town employees in a couple weeks' time. But I figured I'd go on today because I had a couple quick questions. So my understanding is, if I want to just say I was going to purchase a new Robert R. backhoe, I've got the spec already developed. So I would just call up one of your suppliers, say Tormont Cat or Cat in this case, and give them my spec, and they will provide me with a cost, right?
Yeah. So exactly, if you already got the spec made up,
Yeah.
the one thing I would suggest, Brian, is if it was an old spec, definitely, if you're using that, what's the beauty of our program is that you can call up the vendor right away or email them. So if it's Bomag or Caterpillar or whoever it is, right here, John Deere, you name it, you got them all in here. You just send them all. You can send one, or you could send them all a contact with your specs. The only thing I will say, Brian, is if it's an old one that you have, just make sure that like through our program, like if you were to put this out through an RFP process, you wouldn't have that opportunity to talk with the vendor. So through our program, if it is an old one, they'll be able to say, you know what are you doing with this? What are you planning on doing? They'll ask you, like, are you picking up rocks? Where's it going to be parked? All these different things. The beauty of that is you're not going to get a machine that's too big for your needs. We had this happen with one of our members who when they went out and they put out an RFP, it was based on an old RFP and they just changed the dates. With this, you can actually get the right item for you. And with that member, what they went out and then the second they opened up the contract, the specs were based on an older model. And that meant that they were an older model that was actually $30,000 more expensive. So had they had the opportunity to talk directly with the experts, like I'm not a backhoe expert at all, but Komatsu and these guys, John Deere, they are. So they were able to, they can navigate you into the right direction, get you what you need without paying more.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's where I was going. So I've got a spec developed, and it's a current spec. It's the piece of equipment that we want and need. So I could just contact each one of these vendors. Basically, they will provide me with a price, and then I just go with the best price from there. Is that the way it works?
If best price is your caveat, I know price is always the thing. And
So-
yeah, so sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so in saying that, so if I know that I want say a Caterpillar backhoe, for instance, so I call up that guy, he gives me the price because I know I'm gonna get a good service and I'm gonna get the piece of equipment that we want for our town, that I can just go with Caterpillar. Is that what I understand as well?
Yeah, it's not sole sourcing because I hear where you're going with that. You can actually pick one of our vendors that
Yes.
are based on here. That's the other thing too, is because lowest price doesn't necessarily mean that it's always the best for the municipality or the member.
For sure.
There's tons of situations where municipalities will go with the lowest price, but then realize afterwards that it's out of China or offshore, and then there's nobody here that can facilitate or a service. So they end up getting something that breaks down in a month, and then all of a sudden they need to find somebody who can service it, and it's just complicated. So we understand you might have a garage full of Caterpillar equipment that can, like if you already have a backhoe for Caterpillar and you can change the parts, it's going to save you guys money in the long run. So it makes sense for your director of public works to go through Caterpillar. So our programs allow that procurement flexibility, that if one of our vendors is listed here, you can actually choose Bomeg, Case, Caterpillar. You can choose one of them that's already on our supplier list. Whereas a traditional RFP process, it's against CFTA regulations that you can't make it specific to Caterpillar.
Yes, yeah. So in a way, you are sole sourcing if you want to.
No,
No?
no, it's like a standing offer, like, but you can choose any one of our approved vendors.
Yes.
So it's not sole sourcing. It's that they've already done the RFP process has already been done. They've
Yes.
been approved as one of our suppliers, and in the category of the heavy construction equipment program, these approved available suppliers are here for you to choose. You get a quote for one, or if you want to get a choose from all of them, quote from all of them, you can do that. But I stay away from that. Like the wording is really important. The RFP process is done on your behalf.
Yeah, yes.
It's not that you don't have to go out for RFP. And then yes, you can choose one of the vendors, but no, it's not sole sourcing.
Yeah.
So it's the wording is very, very important.
I understand.
Yeah, sorry, Brian, I had to.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. And I just have one quick follow-up question on that as well. So if we decide to go with Volvo, for instance,
Yep.
and so the piece of equipment would that come from Volvo Canada as such? And what about like servicing and stuff like that?
Great question. I kind of touched on this before, but the whole reason why Canoe Procurement became an entity is we realized very quickly that we need to have a Canadian component. Local is a big message for us. We constantly strive to work for local. So in the case of Volvo, you're actually the contact here, yes, as I mentioned before, the contact here is not a local 709 number, it's a 1828 number. However, Kathy Tadone is going to reach out to their local rep as local as possible to where your location is. I can't always promise that it's going to be in Torbay. However, I can promise that it's going to be as close as possible. Chances are it definitely is going to be in Atlantic Canada, because it doesn't make, well, and for the case of Volvo, service is a big thing too. It's probably going to be, like, I didn't see a Volvo shop in Torbay, or is there?
No,
one?
well, in St. John's for sure.
Yeah, St. John's definitely one. I remember seeing them there. But so it's going to be as local as possible. But a lot of our vendors also, like for the case of the OTR tires, those things are huge. They're massive. They actually come to you. They're not going to expect you to bring down your big loader down. They'll come and change your tire on site. So things like servicing and things like that, that's the same thing as well. So it's all built into the quote, bespoke to your needs.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and that's because that was one of my concerns, is that we're sort of cutting out our local vendors as such, right? And if you're like with any vendor, if you're purchasing a Ford pickup truck, say you're in St. John's, just say if you're living in St. John's area, you purchase a Ford pickup truck in Gander, for instance, in Central Newfoundland, then the dealers in St. John's will do your service, but they're not going to give you the same level of service as if you purchase that truck directly from them, right?
You're going to be, so the supplier, if they sell Volvo, the discounts coming from Volvo Canada, the local supplier is not getting hit.
Okay, good. Okay, that was one of my questions. Okay.
No, that's something that's written in all the contracts. We're actually going through this with, I've mentioned that before with the fleet management, where a lot of the local dealers, it's all about educating everyone, because it's such a new concept. And no, it's with the fleet management, there was a big concern that they would lose that support or they'll lose that volume of business. It's being managed by by eFleet, by Enterprise. However, they are channeling things through local suppliers.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Anytime, Brian. Reach out anytime, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, for sure. Thanks.
Okay, we still have time for another question if there's any.
I guess the one thing I could mention, Tammy, is so in order to become members, notice of intent is really important. I can send the wording over. It's quite simple, and actually, most of you have probably seen the notice of intents coming up on the procurement website, the Newfoundland government. But the thing that we would need is we do have membership forms that we get people to fill out. They're not binding, but what they offer us is the build to and ship to. In the case of bigger towns we work with, there's multiple ship tos, like the Corner Brooks and the Ganders. And, there's multiple ship to areas. So if you want, if you would like a membership form, you can actually go on the MNL website, or you can reach out to me and I can send one over to you. But really, we just need the build to and ship to make it work.
Okay. Okay, the only other thing that's come up in the chat was folks are wondering if we can share the slide deck.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I can actually send out a membership guide that actually highlights everything. It goes into further details.
Perfect.
If you like that, the membership guide's fantastic. If I ever get to see in person, I like the hard copies we have of it. They're pretty great little size that you can keep in your pockets. But you also have next time you see me at one of the events, I know Tammy, you're going to be there with me. Always have goodies around. So I'd be happy to see you guys at any of the events that we'll be doing in Newfoundland. And I'll be sure to load the bags up with all the goodies, all the swag.
I had some swag from the MNL convention and it got given away as Christmas gifts.
Some of the stuff's really good. You
It
always
was some good stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's funny at the MNL conference. I usually wear my plaid shirt. It's blue and blue. I'm sure you saw me wearing that, Tammy. And it's got Canoe on the side. And when we were giving our presentation, my counterpart, our director, he said, "I feel like I should be wearing a suit jacket." And the night before, he was telling me that my slide deck was too stuffy. He's like, "Have fun with it. It's got to make it less stuffy." So I said, "Well, you don't need a suit jacket. We've taken all the hard work out of procurement. We're making buying stuff fun again. Don't worry about your jacket. Like buying a fire truck should be fun. Buying a backhoe should be fun. Like I want to see pictures, and it really is fun. And like we've done all the hard work, so that's why there's no suit and ties with us. But if you want to get into the nitty gritty, we'll get in the nitty gritty for sure.
Well, hopefully we'll have the opportunity to see you or someone from your team at our convention, which is happening. I've mentioned this to you, but we haven't sent any formal information out, but June 8th, 9th, and 10th in Gander. So I think it's going to be a wonderful opportunity. Our administrators haven't gathered in person as a whole membership since 2019. So I think you'll have a lot of folks that are interested in having these conversations in person. So because that sometimes is the more natural way of communicating for a lot of folks. And I know that when you were at the MNL convention that it opened up a lot of conversations. So hopefully the PMA convention will do the same again.
Absolutely, count me in for that. The only thing is I am going to bring my guitar, so we're going to have some sing-alongs.
We don't like music or fun.
I know, I'm not a big fan of it either. It's too fun.
Okay, so I guess if there's no other questions, no raised hands or anything in the chat, I'll just check again. Nope, no chats, no raised hands. So as I said at the beginning, we have recorded this session, so we will share a link to the recording in our next bulletin, as well as the information that Tim has said that he will send along in terms of the membership booklet information, and as well as the slide deck from today. Oh, Nadine has another question.
That's a clap.
Oh,
Oh.
yay. Thank you very much, Tim, and for everybody for coming out today and taking the time out of what I'm sure is pretty busy schedules to hear a little bit more about procurement.
My pleasure.
So barring nothing in the chat or raised hands, we will end it today. Thank you
everyone.
again, everyone. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Tim.
Tim.
Thanks, Tammy.